Hi and welcome. So this is going to be slightly a longer, I shouldn't say tutorial because it's not necessarily a tutorial, but a proof of concept and something which has been at the back of my mind for quite a while now, and I wanted to share with my learning community. So I start off with this article. It's in the CIO.com, one of those articles over there, and I'll just go through this briefly through this paragraph. It says, so I was surprised to see the 81% of respondents to KPMG's CEO Outlook 2016 as apprehensive about the integration of basic automated business processes with artificial intelligence and cognitive processes. Okay. Considering 65% of these CEOs are also aiming to use disruptive technologies to increase sales. So that is kind of sitting on the horns of a dilemma. So you want to use disruptive technologies to increase sales, but you're apprehensive to go ahead and use or do some kind of basic integration automation with AI and cognitive processes. Now, if you are not aware what AI and cognitive processes are, but you still want to increase sales using disruptive technology, yes, it's understood that you will be apprehensive, and this is okay. So nothing, no big deal over here. Then he says, excitement about the rapidly proliferating resources for doing just that. After all, few companies are likely to build their own Watson. Yes, true. Few companies will venture to build their own Watson. Absolutely correct. I'm presuming that is Watson from IBM, of course. But APIs mean anyone can tap Watson's capabilities, and it's only one option among many other new additions to an API ecosystem that now offers AI, natural language processing, machine learning, and more as a service in the cloud. So that's a lot of things that need explanation. Yeah. So what all APIs are being offered by Watson, I am not necessarily aware. But yes, some of these things, which is artificial intelligence, natural language processing, and machine learning, I am aware of. And okay, so I'm going to this other article now. It says decoding the API economy. And again, this is an excellent article. What I'll do is I'll post this link somewhere along with the video so that you can go through this later on. And all of this kind of got me excited, and I started doing some of my own API stuff in Python. And now this is one of the blogs which I follow very carefully. It's called Real Python, and this is one of the older blog posts. It's not a very latest blog post. And if you are inclined to understand as to what all of this means and what exactly a REST API is and how some of these things are impacting latest web technology and why it has to be done and things to that effect, you can go ahead and read through this. But the only point that I wanted to kind of emphasize from this particular blog is this, what I have highlighted over here, which says, so the examples below will be for a REST API using JSON. Yes, because YAML is not everybody's cup of tea. It is far difficult to code. Also far difficult to utilize and understand how best it can be utilized. And also JSON is the commonality between, say, JavaScript and Python and other programming languages. So that is one commonality. If you want to share data across platforms, it can be easily done using JSON. So that's one thing. Now, what kind of APIs are available to us? What kind of publicly available APIs exist, and what would you want to do with them? So let's say I were to close this and I were to go to okay, so Twitter API. So here is an example of something which is Twitter API. What exactly is this API and what all does it offer? You can go and just Google it yourself and have a look. There are certain basic implementations that we've been doing, and I would like to showcase those. Now here is something that we've been up to for a while. It says social media analytics. So not much of analytics happening here, but still what we're basically doing is we go to, one second, let me see where I can log in into my Twitter safely without Okay, so say I land up on my Twitter, and say there is, just as an example, Josh Burson, who I want to follow. I think he's ended up changing his Twitter handle. This was not his Twitter handle earlier. There seems some latest. Anyway, let's go to McKinsey Quarterly. Say we went to McKinsey India, and you wanted to see for some reason they've gone ahead and they've made 1,669 tweets. Let's just go to say Obama. Okay. And the president has made 15,000 tweets. And let's say you wanted to read some of the older tweets. How would you go about it? Or let's say you wanted to search something within his tweets. How would you go about it? Or let's say you wanted to end up seeing who are these people he follows. So you could probably just go here and say, okay, fine, he's following 635,000 people, out of which, let's say you wanted to follow some of them. For some reason you wanted to follow some of them. How do you even know who out of these people you would want to follow, who are having any number of followers of their own, or maybe they are just people? Because usually what I have heard about Obama is that he uses some kind of a Twitter bot which follows back if you follow him. So which is okay, so in case you want to do that. But presume you wanted to do all of these things on your own. How would you manage doing that? So here is how you would manage doing that. So I leave this open and I go here and I say Tweepy Python. Okay, so this is, let me go here, this is much better. So this is the official page for this package called Tweepy. It's an excellent package, it is a wonderful package. Who all have created it, who all have worked on it, the credits can be seen here. If we go to their GitHub, okay. All of this takes a while. Yeah. So it is Aaron and Josh the coder. So Aaron Hill and Joshua Roeslin. So this is one of the best, Twitter API access packages for Python that exists out there. So this is something that I've been using for a while, and I would highly recommend this. So what do we end up doing? So you have your own Python environment in which you can work, and this is what I have been doing. So this is my environment. It's called something else altogether, which we need not bother about right now. It is not. It's not called Twitter for some reason. But I'll just live with that right now. So here we go. We get into the command prompt and get into that particular folder and go Jupyter. And I'll close this because I don't, my system is very low on memory. I have a very low end system. I don't want to. Okay. This is something I'll go to later on. First, let me show you some of the very basic code as to what do we end up doing. And I'll share some of this code on my blog. I won't be sharing it on GitHub because GitHub people find it a little bit, people who aren't developers, they don't necessarily go to GitHub, so there's no point. So I want to share it and keep it available to absolutely anybody who wants to see it. What happened here? Okay. So this is the Jupyter notebook. This is what I prefer as my coding environment. So this one says products and all that, but we need not bother. And there are different models and other things which are here. So this is the basic model that we have, which we use to upload data into our SQL database, and then we provide it on the internet for other people to access. So that's basically that's again using one kind of API to provide that data as JSON and displaying it over there. What I also want to show you is how do I go around getting this. So how do I get this down? How do I go ahead and get all those tweets? Because what is publicly available as services out there for such things don't necessarily allow you that much of liberty which say own development environment with Python or with R or with any other language. So you can do it with Ruby on Rails, you can do it with C++, of course you can do it with so many things. But then I'm just aware of R and Python, so I'll just stick to that. And this is how we can go ahead and download certain tweets. I'll just display that. Okay. Okay, so let me explain how this works. So basically go ahead and import Tweepy. Tweepy is the, of course I've given the GitHub over there, is the package which is the main package for this entire thing. Then from Tweepy you want to import auth handler. Auth handler is basically one of the functions or one of the modules within the package which helps you authorize yourself, authorize the application. And what exactly is authorizing the application? Let me open it up here. Yeah, so this is basically, you require a authorization to use the API. So this is how it is done. So there are different kinds of APIs, the search API, the REST API, the streaming API. So what I mostly end up using is the search API. And of course Tweepy provides you access to both the search API, the streaming API, and the REST API also. So any which way, so what we are using here is the search API. So you've gone ahead and imported Tweepy. I've done that twice. I've gone ahead and imported PyMongo, which is basically for my MongoDB. So that is the database that I use to save my tweets in. Once I download the tweets, I save them in MongoDB. The reason I do that is because the structure of MongoDB is pretty much similar to the structure. Okay, this is something I'm supposed to keep secret, so I'll just scroll down because those are the keys of my application. You should not share them publicly. So your own keys also you should not share publicly. Okay, so MongoDB's structure is very similar as to how it saves the tweets to the JSON that tweets are actually structured in. So I'll just show you some of that. Now, here it is. The first one is the auth. So this is again a Tweepy function. Auth handler, the consumer key and consumer secret. So these four have been defined up here, and it picks up those variables and basically goes ahead with it. And so this is the Mongo this thing. So we defined the function on data. So when certain data is there, when certain data is downloaded by this particular script, then the Mongo client creates a connection, and with that connection, okay, and with that connection we can go. So here this is the database. DB no jargon 6 July. So there are some friends of mine in a particular group who wanted some of their tweets and things to that effect. So back in July, early July, I was doing this for them. Okay. And then the API, which is the Tweepy API basically, and now we come to the API part of it, is what is now this particular line of code over here helps us access the API. Now it is not necessarily saying which API as of now. So this particular line of code will work for both. It will work for the streaming API and will also work for the search API. But what it is doing is, it is saying what is the auth handler. Auth handler is what is got defined up here, and wait on rate limit. So in case you get rate limited, you wait. You don't. So you give true. Otherwise, you get banned from Twitter, and that can be a big problem. So you, unless of course you are commercially buying this data from them, it can be a time-consuming activity for sure. Now here is the screen name. So yeah, on that particular day, I was downloading tweets for a HR person called China Gorman. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm not really actually going to run this script and go through that. Now here is the simplest way of getting down the tweets. So API is user timeline. So from the user's timeline, with this particular screen name, which is China Government, include entities, which is true because I wanted to get the URLs, the hashtags, and the mentions. So that is include entities is equal to true. And go up to what? Go up to 2500. So maximum you can go up to 3000. But again, you would get rate limited, so even 2500 is excessive. Probably just go up to 500 and do it a couple of multiple times, and that's enough number of tweets. Okay, and what do you want? So you create a dict or a dictionary, a Python dictionary, and you say tweets all. So what do you want in tweets all? You want the created date, when was the tweet created. You want from the user, when was it, from the user dict, so this is another dictionary. So within this dictionary, you have gone and created another sub-dictionary, so to say. And then again, within this from user, what do you want? You want ID, this ID str, I'm sorry, I don't necessarily remember right now. You want the username and the screen name. Those can be different in certain cases. And you want the user's location. Okay, now this from user created at, sometimes it works in this particular format, but it did not. So I had kind of cancelled it off, I commented it off. And then followers count, friends count, following, geolocation of the tweets, the coordinates in case they are there, favorite count, how many times was tweet favorited, then the ID, the language code, which comes out as EN for English, ES for Espanol, and things to that effect. And the source can be, what exactly are they tweeting with? Are they tweeting from a phone? Are they tweeting from various Twitter clients which are there available? So all of those basically, the from place, the from country, in reply to, in case they're tweeting in reply to somebody, And then of course the in reply to user's ID and user's name. Now this part of it is slightly dicey. So the Twitter developer, the legal bit does not allow you for this. So in the entities and this user mentions and all, I have gone ahead and commented that out. So that is something which we are not allowed to do, so to say. Okay. Then this is of course again that Mongo client has been initialized, and we go ahead and download those tweets. So that tweets all dictionary which was created basically gets inserted into that particular collection, and then you count out as to how many tweets are there. Okay. I've mentioned Kunjal's name here, but this was from earlier. I probably didn't end up changing that code. Okay. So then you basically count out the total number of tweets into that particular collection, and when you run this code, you want to put in some error checking and things like that, and that's about it. So here's few more things I wanted to add, which I didn't. So even though it says Kunjal over here, this is the number of tweets that I got from this lady on that particular date, and this goes on till I think 2500 if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So it will go on till 2000. So that's basically it. So how do you end up seeing the actual tweets, and how do you go ahead and access that? Yeah, so we got 2500 tweets, and then there was some challenge over here. Okay, fine. So there's another friend of mine for whom I was doing something earlier which I did not remove in the code. So that's okay. So we will just, so this is it, right? And there is a warning from Anaconda for that particular package which says depreciation warning and all that. But that's okay. We can ignore that for as of now. So this is the complete code for how you get down the tweets on a particular timeline for almost 2500 tweets which you are allowed to. Okay, perfect. So that's one example of using the API. Now once you've used this API in this particular manner, and you now want to probably publish these tweets on a website or somewhere, you probably will end up using another API. Now how you are using that other API is you get into Django, and again let me explain what exactly Django is. Django is basically a CMS, okay, no, sorry, I shouldn't say it. Django is basically Django is a web framework which is purely Python based. It is mostly used for content management system creation and things to that effect. But then again, there are endless uses to Django, so I'll just leave you with Django Python, and I'm sure that there's a lot of here it is. Yeah, Django project. And this is also something which is absolutely amazing. So, okay. So as an example of what happens with these tweets, let me show you something here. Okay. So there is a no, this is not the one. What I'll do is I'll just I'll have to launch my MongoDB, but which makes my system awfully slow sometimes, but I'll still try and do that. Okay, so once I launch my MongoDB, what I basically want is I want to go into that particular database and I want to cull out some of those tweets. Or let me see if I can cut this short and I can actually get into that directly somehow. Yeah, so yeah, here are my tweets. So this is basically what it comes out like. So we need not. What I'll do is just as a display of what is happening with Mongo. This is MongoDB which has got launched. So that's the database. And if you want, what you can do is you go here and you launch a shell. So this is basically a shell which helps you connect or read your MongoDB and see as to what is there. So I go and say show databases. It will show me those databases, and okay, for that particular one which I was seeing, let's say I say db underscore sixth. Okay, so use this DB. So it switched to that particular DB, and now show collections. So it is showing all the collections. So as you can see, all of these AP followers, China Gavandhankar, Kunjal, mentions, reboot. Okay, so fine, whatever. So all of these are here, and I don't have many, and especially not many which I can show you. Some of it is confidential. So I'll go for call Dhankar images. Okay, yeah, and so then I will say how do I say, one second, I seem to have forgotten that. Let me check here. There used to be something wherein I could just okay, any which way. So basically, how do I go to one particular collection? Sure. One second, I'll have to look. Okay. Call name dot find. Yeah. Okay. So I'll say db dot on underscore Dhankar images not defined. Okay. Yeah, perfect. So this is how you get to see as to what has been stored inside the MongoDB. So this is pure JSON. So this is basically showing the URL of the images that I have uploaded on my particular Twitter handle. So if I were to go ahead and let me once again, in place of images, let me see if I can. And that is capitals. Yeah, perfect. So it has gone ahead and it has basically, so it is saying in the end, type it for more. No, we don't want more, right? Oh, there's enough of data to confuse everyone. So basically, let me just quickly go through this. I'm going through the last one. So it says ID, which is object ID, which is that particular tweet's ID, which has got stored in MongoDB. ISO language is English. In reply to, there is no user that I am replying to. So this is basically one of my tweets. It says null, user ID null, from place country null, because I haven't I haven't really chosen my location when I created my Twitter handle. Text automated Twitter analytics. So yeah, of course that was the text of the tweet. And then there's HTTP something, yeah, of course, HTTPS, the URL of that tweet and date. So 12th July 2016. And coordinates null, source LinkedIn, of course. From LinkedIn, I tweeted this. So that's the source. From user screen name, that is my name. So you'll see all of these have got screen name Dhankar Rohit, Dhankar Rohit, Dhankar Rohit, Dhankar Rohit, goes up that way. Fine. So that is how a tweet basically looks. And there's a whole lot of things in here. So, you can spend hours and hours trying to understand this. And this is what it looks like. So that's the first lot. And if I were to do it, if I were to just type it, which is short for iterate, if I am not wrong, goes through all my tweets. But this is not fun. So how do you end up seeing it in a manner which is human readable, so to say? One of my gurus would hate that term, but again, so I'm just closing MongoDB here. So either you could end up downloading it in an Excel sheet like this, which again is not something which most people would want to go through. Nobody's bothered about all of this. Mostly what people are bothered about is this. That is the text of the tweet, right? Now here is a personal message I wrote to somebody which people would not be interested in probably. So it is to Arindam, Deco Shop Live, something I've written. And this again, as example, I had sent them personal messages, direct messages on Twitter, which are not available on my timeline. So this again, I can end up hiding. And what we do is, we again use the API to go ahead and showcase this and how. So firstly, let me show you what that looks like, that API call, and it is part of my Django framework in my urls.py. There is a file called urls.py, and I'm so sorry, not probably not this project. It's in the other project. That means I'll open that up and I'll close this. This we can leave open. This is what CFA, I think we can close. This I can close. I don't think so I require this. Or maybe I require this. I have too many command prompts open, that confuses me, so I'll just close some of them. And this is moving out of MongoDB. So MongoDB is closed, and the one which I want is not this, but this. Okay, so we go over here, and now some of the folks who are regular developers, they would be cursing me by now. They would say, why doesn't this guy use something which is more intelligent than what he's doing? I do use something more intelligent than what I'm doing right now, but for reasons best known to me, I just want to use the Jupyter notebooks right now, so I'll just stick to that. Okay, so here is the urls.py, and those APIs, those API calls. So these are API calls basically. This is a slightly different project, and this is not that Twitter thing, but still just to display as to how the REST API works. And we started off with the API, and the basic premise of this entire thing is the API. So I'll just go ahead and display how the API works. And I'll try and go into as much detail as possible now, because this is what I basically wanted to focus on. It's always good to have some of these commands in some kind of a cheat sheet. Otherwise, you keep on typing through these, which is quite time consuming, and you can go wrong also. There's absolutely no point. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll go to my preferred browser, and I'll start off with another one which is localhost. And here we go. And I sincerely hope I'll land up with the right one. Yes, okay. And within this, what I want to showcase is this API. So what exactly is this? Let me explain. You come here, you see something called count C. It says API / count underscore C, again count C, name is count C, count underscore C, that is. So what exactly is this, and how do we get to this count underscore C? So you create views. So Django basically MVC framework, you create views, you create some kind of middle response thing, and then of course you display all of that on the HTML page. So what exactly am I doing? This is what I have done. I've gone ahead and I have a model called TP, just simply TP, within which I am filtering all the objects by location name. So there is some variable that I have which is called mLocation, and which in this particular case is Bangalore, and I'm ordering that data. So whatever that data will come out, I'm ordering that by again another variable which is price. So within the model, and let me show you that model so that's much clearer. Here, so within this model TP, I have something called mLocation and I have something called price. So I'm filtering by mLocation and I'm then ordering by price. And I've gone ahead and created this thing, and then of course the values that I want after I've ordered this and I've done that. So what exactly do I want as an output? I want output of the variable locality. So here is the variable locality, and whatever is stored in that, whatever values are stored in that, that is what I want. So that it says values, and these are all chained commands. So this is basically next line, the backslash is the next line, and this dot over here, which is previous, which comes before the order by, or comes before the values and comes before the annotate, is the chaining. These dots or these periods are chaining. Okay, and then I have a list, list final, which says you convert this into a list. Now this is basically overkill. You could probably just end up taking ls1 and then say JSON response and save false. Okay, this is part of the documentation for this as to how to create this. I don't necessarily remember why I have to put that. And what I have here now is this. So these values, which is price 1563 and locality Vishweshwarnath layout, and price 3413 and locality sorry, can't pronounce that, and price 3900 locality hoodie. All of this comes out of this. So my count underscore C is basically a JSON output, which is facilitated by this API call in my views, and which is basically a URL which is passed on to urls.py. So that's how it works. So you first create a view, you pass on that URL function to this file, which is urls.py, which then Django gives indication to its URL resolvers module, and that gets resolved, and it displays it over here. So when you say count underscore C, it displays this. And if I were to go and say count underscore I, sorry, not, I don't want to see I right now. I want to see the next one, which is count underscore C is Bangalore overall, and count underscore N is Bangalore premier locality. So what exactly am I doing here? I'm going ahead and filtering by price greater than and price less than. So between those two bounds, I am filtering. So in price, what I am keeping is 8,000 and 23,000. And again, ordering by price, and rest of it remains the same. But you get two additional filters over here. So these filters have also got chained together. So within that same view call, this has got chained together. And then that request is being made to that API, and that API is providing us with JSON data, with this JSON response down here. Now let's look at count underscore N, and let's see how this is different from count underscore C. So whereas count underscore C gave you all of this, count underscore N will end up giving us only these three, which is Koramangala, Mahatma Gandhi Road, MG Road, and Malleshwaram. Why? Because it's only these three, as we can see over here. As we can see over here, have that price figure more than 8,000. So I've cut it off at 8,000. Presume I were to change this, and we could change that on the fly, and we say we make this as 3,000. Okay, and I save it and do absolutely nothing else. And I go ahead and refresh this over here. I just go and do F5. There it's changed. Now it's getting anything which is above 3,000. So how does this? So this is again again not human readable. So if I were to go ahead and want to make it human readable, what would I do? I go to my application, and this application is actually live here. Sorry, not here. Where is it live? Okay, this is still on my local host, and I've not gone ahead and made it live yet. So I go to Bangalore, and I go and click on, and I'm just clicking on this text, and there is some jQuery code and other things which are happening in the background, and this is what I get. So right from that Gottegre and Hoodie, right up to Malleshwaram, this is what I have. And let me reset this, and let me come back here and say Bangalore and overall Bangalore. I click on this, and this is what I get right from Visheshwara layout onwards up to Malleshwaram, and this is how we get this. Perfectly fine. So this is basically an API call which is bringing out JSON data which has been picked up by D3.js, which is again a JavaScript library, and with some jQuery fiddling around done with it, it's going and displaying it on your screen. So even if you were to go F5 and refresh it, or you were to go ahead and click on this, which is reset charts and tables, this would vanish. You go to the other one, you go here, you say overall Gurgaon. So you get this list, you say premier localities, again you get this list. So again you've cut off at 8,000. So I wanted to cut off at 8,000 everywhere, and I just changed this Bangalore one just to show you as to how easy it is to do that. And I'll go and change it back because I later on don't want to forget that. And this code is supposed to go into production very soon. Okay, so this is what it looks like as of now on the net. So this is on the net, and it is the same thing basically, with just that it is looks slightly different over here. And this is again one more index which is there. And let me over here search for GUR. I just go GUR and I search for Gurgaon, and this is what I get. So I get this entire listing. It says the found 10 records in our database displayed below, and these are those records. I go over here and I say all properties list. So it takes me to this particular page where you have Bangalore, and you have this particular a simple HTML table with that some kind of highlighting which is happening, and yeah, so at 100% looks decent. We go next, you have next page. So all of this data which is coming out, and you see that happening over here, it says page 2, page 3, whatever. All of this is happening through that API call. It is a simple API JSON call, and that is how it is happening. And now I've gone ahead and opened up the code and shown this to you. So I hope you understand as to how the API thing works. And some of that that we saw earlier makes more sense now. And again, for those, oh sorry, I by mistake knocked off this one and started off the other one, which is okay. So what we can do is to show you how this also works. I will move out of bin because I don't necessarily require that. I'm going to it's called CFE for some historical reason. It's got nothing to do with CFE now. I want to run the server in this. The other text file. Yeah, but one second. Run server. You want to run the server on a different localhost because already we have something running on that. So we go over here and we say localhost 8899, and there you have it. Okay, so I go here. Yes, I get that experimental list which I had created earlier, and I don't want, because it's somebody's individual this thing, I won't go into that. Here is another one. So this is this is just a proof of concept. So I don't necessarily, I have no, yeah, so let me go and click on this. It takes you to asset management, Gartner summits, something, Gartner IT financial procurement. I go back, I don't, Going back is always difficult. Okay. So I click on this. So all of these tweets which have come down, we've got 2,500 historical tweets from Gartner, and let me showcase as to how this works. Say if I were to go to page 8, I have tweets from quite a while back. And some of these URLs might work, some of them might not work. When you need a people-centric approach to security and data, of course. Goes without saying. So here are some of the API calls. So all of this is happening through an API call. So the moment we give an input over there, there's an API call which is happening, and that is one way of showcasing as to how organizations can utilize various publicly available APIs. It's been a long video. Thanks a lot for listening in.